Welcome back to the True Blue RiffCast. I am Jeremy. I am excited to be back, and I'm joined, as always, by...
Hi, I'm Dave. I'm here on the True Blue RiffCast with Jeremy. Jeremy, I wanted to ask you something.
Yes.
Who's the number one RiffTrax fan? Is that me or you?
That would be me, Dave.
That would be you?
Yes.
But hey, are you a RiffTrax top fan recognized as so on Facebook?
Yes, I am.
What? Ah, dang it. Are you serious?
Yes.
Dang it. I got my diamond a couple of weeks ago. And I was just like, and I've just been waiting to rub it in your face because I don't know if you have one too. I suppose I could have looked at the top fan list of 47 other people.
Yeah, you scrub. Come on.
Yeah, I know. But dang it. Oh, I was so hoping that, of course, I don't know why I thought you wouldn't have one of those.
Right? Come on.
But anyway, no, yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a great way for making people who don't have other things happening in their lives feel good about themselves, other than being a big RiffTrax fan, like me. Well, I got other stuff happening, but still.
Yeah. And I definitely have a lot of other stuff happening, or I should say had a lot of stuff happening. Because as you know, I mentioned at the end of the last podcast, almost the last week's, but we didn't have one last week. And that
sure did.
I was on vacation, an actual vacation, and not just go 2 towns over and stay at a hotel for 3 nights so the kids could swim in their pool. No, this was an actual vacation. Yeah, it's, when you're broke, that's about all you can afford.
Is that a thing people do?
Oh yeah, we usually drive about 2 hours, go right into Ohio, into Toledo, and there's a pretty nice little hotel that we stay at, and we go to the zoo and all that crap. But that's what you do when you're broke, like when you don't have money. But we've been saving up for a while, and we surprised the kids with a trip to Walt Disney World. And we flew down and everything because I was not going to deal with driving around at Walt Disney World. That wasn't going to happen.
Or driving from Michigan to freaking Orlando.
Yeah. And we had a good time. We were at the park for 4 days, and we stayed at one of the Disney resorts, and it was a blast. I had never been there. Obviously, the kids had never been there. My wife was there when she was like 6, so you can basically say she wasn't there before because she wouldn't remember any of it. But yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah. Hey, did they have the Star Wars stuff there?
No.
What?
No, they already opened in California, but the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in Walt Disney World does not open until August. I was a month and a half too early.
So do they at least have, this is the only thing I care about, do they have Star Wars stuff there?
They do still have the Star Tours ride, which is one of those things where you're in like in a little enclosed ship, and it's got a 3D screen, and it moves around and shakes you around. It actually feels like you're on a roller coaster, even though you're really not moving anywhere.
I went on Star Tours the last time I was in Disneyland 20 years ago.
Yeah, but it's all updated now. We went on, my son and I, while the girls were doing some Frozen sing-along thing, and it was Kylo Ren was a part of the ride.
Yeah, buddy.
As was Finn and Poe Dameron, and it was actually John Boyega and Oscar Isaac,
but not Daisy Ridley.
Oh no! Ray was not a part of this particular ride. But that being said, we still had time before they got out of their Frozen thing because it was like a half hour long. We got back in line and rode it again.
That's cool.
And we got a completely different video with it.
Ooh.
It was, the first one was all scenes from the newer trilogies. It had stuff from 7 and 8 in it. And the second one we went to had scenes from Empire Strikes Back and Revenge of the Sith.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went on it again with my wife and our 2 daughters, and it was Darth Vader and some different scenes from different movies again. So like each time we wrote it, it was actually a different ride.
So it encourages what they call in the video game world replay value.
Yes, lots of replay value. They said that there's like 50 different combinations that they have for it.
Really?
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of neat. And then
cool.
My son and I, while my wife and the girls were doing some Disney Junior dance party thing, we went to the Star Wars landing bay.
Mm-hmm.
And there was where you could interact with some of the characters. And they had Chewbacca.
Mm-hmm.
They had BB-8 and Kylo Ren.
Wow, that's cool.
And the Kylo Ren one was really intimidating. It was weird because, you know, it's just this character from a movie, but it's you know, the outfit, he's got the mask on, and he's talking to you, and it has the modulator in it, and he sounds like Kylo Ren from the movie, and he's like ordering you, you know, you go over here, and he got right in my son's face, and he's like, most people only see the light in you, but I see where it fades, and you have the darkness inside you, and go start your training and then come back to me once you've completed it. And it was really awesome. Like,
that is really, 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 really cool.
It was
really cool.
That was my favorite part of the whole thing, was all the Star Wars nerd stuff. And they had the First Order would come out and march around like in file, mm-hmm. and they had Phasma leading them around, and it was just awesome. It was, I don't know, that's all I can say. It was awesome.
Yay, Star Wars.
The only downside now, after 4 days of walking through the parks and nearly 100,000 steps, according to my Fitbit, is that my foot, even though I got brand new, very comfortable shoes, my foot feels like it's going to explode.
No, that's gross. I kind of hope that doesn't happen. That would not be good.
No, that would put a damper on things.
Like, that would be pretty terrible.
It's really weird because we do actually talk a lot outside of just the podcast, obviously. And I haven't spoken to Dave in a whole week. And usually there's at least a little like, oh, hey, what's up? Yeah, did you see this? They released this today, or did you hear about this terrible movie decision that they're making or whatever? And there was none of that. And it was kind of weird.
Well, I mean, it's not that I was avoiding you, but it would just be like, he's out at Disney having fun.
Well, hey, now that we're all caught up, let's move on to headlines.
Headlines.
Actor Tony Todd, better known to most people as Candyman, turns out that he got paid $1,000 each time he got stung by the bees that he was wearing in the movie. How much do you think he made, Dave?
A ton, I would guess, because you can't have that many bees on you and not get stung.
He got stung 23 times.
They paid him $23,000 for that.
$23,000. This is a quote. I negotiated a bonus of $1,000 for every sting during the bee scene, and I got stung 23 times. Everything that's worth making has to involve some sort of pain. Once I realized it was an important part of who Candyman was, I embraced it. It was like putting on a beautiful coat.
A beautiful coat of $1,000. It's like the coat of many colors that you could also get $23,000 from.
Yes.
It sounds to me like that's the reason he embraced it. Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, if I got $1,000 each time I got stung by a bee, even though I'm deathly allergic to them, I probably would go for it. I mean, there's EpiPens, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. I mean, my wrestling gimmick is a bee man, and you know, it's kind of weird for me because my life is now a walking pun. Because it's like everyone and their mother likes to make bee puns at me. So, and I get bee memes and bee puns sent to me on Facebook. Everyone at training is always making these crazy bee puns at me all the time. It's my own fault, but I mean, yeah, Tony Todd though, that guy, wow, that's that's a lot of times to get stung by a bee.
Aren't you getting like targeted advertisements now on Facebook
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. So like all the stuff I just told you about Charlie B, the bee character, and it's gotten so bad now. Not bad, but it's just like now my targeted advertisement in Facebook is like from like these Save the Bees websites. And they want me to buy like different bee things. And I'm just like, what? This is what my life has become. But hey, this is what I signed up for, I guess. Also, number one, I signed up to get my ass kicked at age 37. Now I'm 38. And now I'm a guy who wears a bee mask. Everybody sends all these bee memes and stuff to me. Don't at me at Twitter with bee stuff, okay? Don't do it.
Send your best bee memes to at Sugar Ray Dodge on Twitter.
Well, I mean, it's gonna happen anyway, so you might as well. But yeah, but it's just like, oh man. But sometimes it gets pretty weird and surreal. But yeah. But anyway, if I got stung by bees that many times, I guess I'd take 23 grand too. You know, right? I mean, it'd be dumb not to take it.
Might as well get paid for it.
Might as well.
In other news, there is a brand new Critters movie coming out this summer, and it's starring Dee Wallace, who was in the original movie.
Oh wow! Now I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I've never seen any of the Critters movies. Is there more than one?
There are 4.
Oh wow! Okay, so that means probably a number of them probably suck, right?
Yes, the 4th one especially. The 3rd one was actually the first movie that Leonardo DiCaprio was in.
Really?
Yeah.
It sounds like he would be in some crazy. Now, is this a horror franchise?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I almost made myself sound really dumb because with how Johnny Depp was in A Nightmare on Elm Street, his first movie.
Yeah.
Then Kevin Bacon was in the other one, the other big franchise, Friday the 13th. I don't know if it was his first movie, but still, he's in these crazy horror movies. And I was about to say, Leonardo DiCaprio, sounds like he might have been in some crazy horror movie. Then I realized, oh, wait, maybe this probably is a horror. Maybe I should find out before I say this thing. And there's no way that's going to end up in the final cut of the podcast. So no one will know that I was a big fat idiot.
Unless it does.
Yeah. Oh, geez, oh, no. I'll be like, yeah, anyway. So, but my guess where I'm going with all of this is that I'm guessing that you, as a fan of the Critters franchise, which is why you probably brought this up, is that you are not happy with some of the things that are in this new Critters movie.
Oh, it actually looks fine. They're still using puppets for the creatures, and it's not like some weird little CG thing. So that kind of makes me happy. It doesn't look like it's going to be any good at all, but that's kind of part of the reason why I enjoy the Critters movies, because they're bad, but they've been bad in the right ways. And it's got to be better than the TV series that they also just released.
That sounds bad as well.
That was not good. Even Gilbert Gottfried couldn't save it for the amount that was in it.
Oh, what are these? What are these? Some critters?
What are you, a porcupine? Both of us are terrible.
Happening?
Both terrible at Gilbert Gottfried impressions.
In
case you couldn't tell.
Yeah. Be like, I was in Wings. What? Remember that show? It was about an airplane, an airport on Nantucket. You know, remember Wings? Remember?
Moving on. Let's take a look at the weekend box office. Of course, Disney dominating the box office with Toy Story 4.
Of course it was. I mean, was okay. Come on. Was that ever not going to happen?
No.
Okay.
No. Annabelle Comes Home, which I don't know why they're still making Annabelle movies. Oh, yes, I do, because this one raked in $20 million its opening weekend. Then
Annabelle. I've never even heard of the Annabelle movies. Honestly, I'm gonna be.
It's some possessed doll thing. I don't know what it is. I really don't. I think it has to do with the Conjuring films in some way, which also more movies that I haven't ever seen. But Annabelle Comes Home was followed closely by Yesterday, which movie that has something to do with the Beatles, and then followed by Aladdin and The Secret Life of Pets 2. Something interesting on here. I'm looking at this list of movies, and we've got Godzilla, Child's Play, Men in Black, Aladdin, and Toy Story.
In the year 2019.
In the year 2019, we have all these movies that were out in the 90s. They all had.
We're about to enter a new 20s. Think about that. And we're about to enter our own 20s. These are going to be our 20s, Jeremy. Yes. Our 20s, as opposed to the 20s that just happened.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm kind of okay with it. not with like the passage of time thing. I'm fine with
nobody's
that.
Okay with
Obvious,
that.
Yeah. But like with like all these franchises from like the 90s or the 80s and the 90s and stuff like that, I'm cool with it because I kind of feel like that's the way it's always been, and that's kind of like how stories get passed down to generation to generation, etc. Come on, people, now smile. I'm your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now.
Yes. I'm okay with it, too, in the sense that I would rather have a sequel or like a soft reboot made like this rather than them trying to cram them out within a year of the previous ones. Like, they still do that, obviously, but you know, for some of these movies, it's been a long time coming. Yeah. And rather than getting just a direct-to-video crap fest like Disney used to do with, like, Bambi 2 and Fox and the Hound 2 and all that, at least they're
Cinderella, A Wrinkle in Time. Aladdin, Prince of Thieves or something.
Yeah, those weren't good. I got an idea. Let's make a Cinderella sequel, but this is about the
time travel.
The evil stepmother going back in time and getting the wand from the fairy godmother before she made Cinderella, so it never happened. And then...
Wait, is that what happened?
Yes. Something like that. I've never seen it, but I seem to remember.
Time travel in it.
Oh, there was time travel, yeah. Yeah, she went back in time and she stopped the events from happening or some...
Like Endgame all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to go there because we don't have time to dissect that movie.
Sure don't.
We do have time for a short review of RiffTrax shorts.
Yes!
Man, just call me the king of segues.
Absolutely. Yeah, I suppose it is a good thing we should talk about RiffTrax eventually on our RiffTrax podcast.
So for today's short review of RiffTrax shorts, we are going to be looking at Emergencies. What would you do? This was released on March 20th of 2019. What would you do if a little child ate bleach powder? Do you know what you would do if you fell off of a dock when you can't swim and there are plenty of adults nearby? How about if you were out to dinner and some shady guy was following around a teenage girl? Wait, I'm thinking of ABC's What Would You Do with John Quinones. Anyway, Emergencies, What Would You Do sets out to give a few examples of what you should do when one of your friends decides to shake hands with danger. The main thing I noticed about this short is the emotion behind everything. Well, the lack of, anyway. The people either show no emotion or it was completely the wrong emotion. The narrator was way too happy about everything. The bleach eater, her mother, and her friend all showed zero emotion about the situation. And we see some guy that is way too happy to see his house being burnt down. I think the kids that this short was made for probably would have even laughed at this one. It's not as bad as some of the other safety shorts like Danger, Keep Out, or Live and Learn, but it's not good or really that informative by any means. The guys really sounded like they were having a good time while they were recording this one, and that always adds so much to the enjoyment of it. It was a very enjoyable first watch. Not quite at the level of some of the aforementioned safety shorts, but I know I will be watching it plenty of times down the road. That being said, you definitely should go and buy it. Emergencies, What Would You Do? Gets 4 drop to baby dolls out of 5.
How long is it?
It's short.
Well, I know that. But is it like 10 minutes or 20 minutes? Because that does affect the price.
Yes. Well, it's 99 cents. It is 8 minutes long.
All right. That's cool. That's good. I'm gonna have to check that out. I remember the last new that I remember. I'm sure I've seen others that I've enjoyed after this. The last one that I remember really enjoying was 6 Murderous Beliefs.
Yes, that one was.
Yes, that was.
Ooh.
That one is crazy funny.
That one is.
I'm surprised it hasn't made it into a live show yet, but it's.
Well, that was
really good.
I mean, it was a Kickstarter reward from last year's Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of at least tied to the live show.
Yeah, it's associated with, end up in a category on the wiki for related to our Kickstarter.
Yeah. Back when we were talking about Octoman, when we were getting ready for that show, I had mentioned to Dave that the McGruff short was blending together with another one that I knew I had recently watched, and it had something to do with a kid eating some sort of like powder in the garage, and it turns out it was this one. So
it was this one. Okay.
Very serendipitous.
Yep. Yeah, I know what that word means. I want everyone out there to know that I know what that word means. Okay, and that it's a choice. It's a personal choice for me to not say what it means to prove that I know what it means.
Yes. And he'll have time from when we record this to when it goes live, so he can ask Siri to tell him what it means. So by the time people listen and they say, hey, do you know what this means? And he can say, oh, yeah, it means this. And then he can act like he just knew it the whole time.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, well, it's possible. That's not going to happen, but I will admit, I mean, I can't admit that is not possible to happen in that time frame. There is enough time for that event to happen, but it's not going to have to happen because I know what it means.
Yes. Right. So moving on to from the wall, screwed that up. So moving on from the shorts to the not so shorts. Dave, what do you got for us for VODs today?
We have two new releases since our last time together here, Jeremy.
Yes.
Because I don't know why we thought this. We thought that there was just a live show. They're probably not going to have a new release today, right? And Jeremy's going on vacation, so obviously Jeremy's going on vacation. They're not going to put out a new release. No, they released a new release on the day that was like, oh, we're not going to have a podcast. And it's like one of the most interesting things to ever happen in the history of RiffTrax. We'll get to that later. And then the other day they do another new release. So it's just so we got quite a bit to talk about.
Yes, indeed.
And I think we'll go ahead and start with the most recent new release, the one that was released the other day. It's called 1990, The Bronx Warriors. Now, Jeremy, you've heard me go on and on in the past talking about RiffTrax quite a bit, correct?
Oh, yes. Very much so.
And one of my big recurring themes in my theses that I spit out at you or in your direction is the importance of movie selection, right?
Yes. We all like pancakes.
Yep. We all love pancakes, but if a movie doesn't keep you engaged, it's just death. The last few, I would probably say, from Giant from the Unknown forward, from Giant from the Unknown to The Power to Yesterday's Target, the three of those they were really hard to choke down. It's just like, ow, oh, this is painful, right? Like these movies are very bad, right? And there's not a whole lot to get in there and grasp onto. I mean, you're able to stay engaged with them because of RiffTrax, but the movies themselves are just cool. They're they're just terrible, and we've talked about all of them on the podcast. This one, I think, is the first one, 1990 Bronx. This is a great RiffTrax movie selection. I mean, it's just like, and we've also talked about how around this time of year, RiffTrax tends to turn a corner and kind of go out of these more low-key kind of releases into ones that are just like big kick-ass, high-octane, like really memorable entries. And I think this is the first one of those. It came a little bit earlier than it did in, say, last year or in 2016. We got this here in late June. It's very like it has all the great things that make a RiffTrax movie memorable, and you want to go back and revisit it. I mean, it's a dystopia, of course it is, but it's a dystopia that's very quite unique. Honestly, I mean, I don't want to really get into like what everything is about in this movie, but it's got great characters. It's got a great funny, quirky look. It's just ridiculous on every level, and it's just so much fun. And it's just like, there we go. Like that's the kind of stuff that I just like love about RiffTrax VODs. It's just like, okay, here we go. All right, you know how you kind of like sit back up in your seat, like, oh yes, all right,
yeah. Boom. This is what I've been waiting for.
Yep. But a couple interesting things about this selection, other than the movie itself, is who directed it. Now, the guy who directed it is a man named Enzo G. Castorelli, and he has directed quite a few, or at least two.
Yeah.
He has directed at least two RiffTrax classics. He has directed The Last Shark and Warriors of the Wasteland. And those aren't insignificant, especially, Warriors of the Wasteland shares at least one cast member in the form of
Fred Williamson.
Yeah. And I was just looking at this guy's filmography, and just like looking at the titles, and I'm like, yeah, these movies sound like movies this dude would direct. But quick aside here, there is one movie on here that is of extreme interest to you and me, yes. and we are going to make it of extreme interest to everybody listening to this, and it's a movie called Light Blast.
Yes, this movie,
it defies description, and I don't like pestering RiffTrax. Maybe pestering's not the right word, but just be like, hey, you guys should do this, because like I like the discoverability that RiffTrax brings to me through the stuff that they want to do.
Right. We found so many movies we never would have heard of before.
Mm-hmm. So I'm fine with RiffTrax doing what they want to do, as opposed to, oh, this would be great, I want them to do this, and why haven't you done it yet? Do this, you cowards. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But this is one where I kind of am going to step out of that a little bit and be like, guys, if you guys love me at all, I mean, you don't even have to love me. If you guys even have just like a smidgen of affection for me, Dave Chadwick, aka Sugar Ray Dodds, at all, please do Light Blast. It's like, I can't even describe the joy it would bring me if you guys would do Light Blast.
Can I gotta read the little plot snippet from Wikipedia for this, because I love it. I saw this movie. I just randomly found it one day, and I immediately showed Dave. And so we both ended up watching it on the same day. But this is the plot. In San Francisco, two teenagers playing hide and seek among the cars in an abandoned railway exchange affection. Wait,
is that really what it says?
Yes. A white van arrives in the vicinity and points a gun towards a large LCD clock.
Oh, wait till you see the clocks in this movie.
AM 1049. The teens have sex. The cannon fires all around. And then everything melts, including the people. And you guys, the effect for the people melting is one of my all-time favorite visual effects that I've ever seen in a movie. It's so, I can't. It's just think Raiders of the Lost Ark. Terrible.
But way bad.
So then it turns out that the guy, Dr. Yuri Svoboda, former professor at the University of San Francisco, menaces the municipality of the town with his laser ray if he is not given $5 million. I want to know who wrote this plot description.
Because
so bad. But that accurately describes the movie. Like, the first time you see Eric Estrada, he's in his underwear and he's carrying this big serving tray with a turkey and French fries on it into a hostage situation in a bank, from which he then pushes the gun through the turkey to kill the guys.
Through the turkey, through the gas. It's like the weirdest, most reverse sexual thing I've ever seen. Anyway, go watch Life Blast, everybody, and then go to ideas.rifftrax.com and just punch that baby up.
And I know that they are aware of this movie because I have talked to Connor about it before. But guys, please,
for me, I mean, I'm going to make this all about me. Please do Light Blast. Hashtag do Light Blast, you cowards. Anyway. I suppose we should talk about the elephant in the room regarding 1990, the Bronx Warriors.
Yes.
In that this is what some in the group has described as a prequel to a episode of this other riffing show, something called Mysteriously Scientific Cinema 5000.
It's something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I may have heard of it before.
Yeah. To be blunt, I haven't seen that episode. And everyone's making all these Toblerone references. If I have seen it, I've forgotten about it. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm really, really not. But I just, I see all these Toblerone references. Like, guys, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. You know, it's just, mainly because, my experience with MST3K really focused on the sci-fi years, the ones with Bill as Crow and Brain Guy. That's kind of like my MST3K, and that's kind of like why I identify with RiffTrax so much. I'm sure it's great. I just haven't seen it. I mean, I guess that's all I can really say about it.
I thought you were going to talk about the other elephant in the room.
What's that?
And the fact that this movie was Vic Morrow's penultimate film.
Oh, right. That.
Right before his untimely death while filming the Twilight Zone movie. You and I talked about this at length right before we started the podcast. If you're not familiar with the story, I would tell you to look it up, but it's really depressing. And it's...
Well, you brought it up. You brought it up. Let's talk about it. Just tell the story super quick. Yeah.
He was killed by a helicopter that fell on him during filming a scene. Him and two child actors who were in the scene with him, and he was decapitated by the rotors of the helicopter as it fell on him. Okay, moving on. Enough about that. So let's start talking about something else. Let's talk about the RiffTrax release that some have said is the most epic crossover in the history of crossovers, and that would be one Mr. Dave C.
I was about to say, that sounds like something I said.
Dave C. Yes, in the official email from RiffTrax. Quoted
Hold on, wait a minute, back up. Wait a minute, I didn't know this happened.
Yeah.
RiffTrax used a quote from me.
Yes.
Wow. I suppose I should check my email more often.
Probably. It's a RiffTrax fans agree. Bridget and Matthew are a terrific tandem. Yeah, I read that and I'm like, hey, I know this quote. And I saw the Dave C at the end. I'm like, oh, yeah, I definitely know this quote because I saw him say it.
Oh, there it is right there.
Yeah.
This is a book, Epic Crossovers in History. Hey, thanks, guys. I really do appreciate it when RiffTrax includes me and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
But, yeah. But anyway, let's talk about the two people that this is really about, and that's Bridget Nelson and our good friend Matthew J. Elliott.
Yes. When this was released, about a week and a half ago now, I was very upset because I saw what it was, and this is big. Like, this isn't something that has happened before. So I got really excited, and then I remembered, oh, wait, I'm going to be in Florida on Sunday. We will not be able to record an episode of the podcast. Of course, that happens right when we are taking a break for a week. I was very upset. I was actually talking to Matthew about this and about how upset I was about it. But, yeah, this is very exciting, and it could very potentially lead to more things of this nature.
Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, what? That's crazy. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And it's just like, to me, it kind of validates both teams, really, and also validates not only the two riffers that are there, but also kind of validates both teams as teams themselves, in the fact that they're both so strong that they can have this kind of crossover and put it under, the RiffTrax Presents banner and be like, hey, look, we're all part of the same family here. I mean, I know that's happened before with Cole and Janet and Night of the Shorts. Yes. At the San Francisco Sketch Fest. Matthew J. Elliott has him and Ian, they do live in England, so it's a little bit more difficult. So I don't want to say been kind of like left out or, but they are kind of like the black sheep of the family. And a lot of times it can seem like what's happening with them is kind of isolated from what's happening with the rest of RiffTrax. For me,
yeah.
This is a great way to be like, hey, look, we're all the same family here. And, RiffTrax is, as much as we love Mike, Kevin, and Bill, can be more than just Mike, Kevin, and Bill. And we're expanding what the RiffTrax experience is. So that's something that, and I've been a fan of, Bridget and Mary Jo and Matthew and Ian for years,
as we've recently discussed in our last few episodes.
Yes. So for me, I feel like it's validation of RiffTrax. Not necessarily. It is validation of Matthew and Bridget being together as a team, but it's also validation of RiffTrax as a family. It's as a family of performers itself. It's very cool, and it's a big, huge, important thing in the history of RiffTrax. If I ever do write my my definitive history of RiffTrax book, which I kind of do want to write now,
yeah,
I think that this particular entry is going to be one of significance, because it is quite significant. But this was written by Matthew. It's on point. It plays up to Bridget's sensibilities and Matthew's sensibilities. It's a great. You don't feel like either one of them. It feels organic. It doesn't feel like they don't belong in the same room, because even though they're on different continents,
Yeah.
you it feels like they're there together. It's organic, and it's really, really cool. They have awesome chemistry, awesome comedic chemistry together. So I think that it's a victory in that sense, and I really, really hope that this is not the last time we see a crossover like this.
Yeah, I hope so too. I don't think it will be, but of course that all depends on how well this release does.
Mm-hmm.
So
obviously,
guys,
support this.
Oh yeah, definitely check it out. And I know we ride you guys a lot about just straight up giving Matthew and Ian a chance, or Bridget and Mary Jo a chance. This is the perfect way to do both of that together.
Yeah. I mean, and this is important. Like, if this is probably going to get, if it doesn't win RiffTrax Presents of the Year for the year in review, it might have to be my Editor's Choice Award, because I feel that this is an extremely important moment in the history of RiffTrax. So I think that, I just want to stress again, you guys want to get this one. This is a big one. This is important.
Yes. This is definitely important. It's definitely a great release. Oh yeah, and Christopher Lee is Sherlock Holmes in the movie.
Oh right, yes, and he's being they dubbed him out even though he did all his lines. So
yeah.
Why would you do that?
It's Christopher Lee. Like, come on.
Christopher Lee of Starship Invasions? That Christopher Lee?
That is the one and the same.
Oh God, I'm so happy. Anyway, so that's kind of all I got to say about the Deadly Necklace. Do you have anything to say about the Deadly Necklace?
Yeah, this was a great surprise. Like, I knew something that Matthew had done was going to be coming out on Friday because of the things that I had seen posted around online. And I thought it was going to be a different movie that he and Ian had worked on that hasn't released yet. And
I thought it was the same movie as well.
And I asked him, and he's like, no, it's going to be something else that's very special. And make sure you check it out when it drops. And yeah, this is definitely something special. That's going to do it for us today. You may notice that we didn't actually talk about our half year in review like we were planning on. That, of course, is because I was in Florida all week and I've been dead tired and I have not had time to actually go back and recheck anything out. So I would not have been prepared for this at all. So hopefully next week you'll get the first part of the first half of 2019 in review.
Awesome. Also, we had 2 new releases to talk about this week, so it was kind of, it would have been this weird balancing act. It would have been even longer, so it is a good thing that we kind of decided to push it out.
Yeah, because we absolutely had to talk about this Bridget and Matthew release.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm Jeremy. You can find me on Twitter at PBandAwesome. You can actually follow the podcast now on Twitter at TBRiffcast. You can find me at pbandawesome.com. You can send us a voice message through anchor.fm. The link will be in the description for this episode, no matter what platform you're actually listening on. And you can find Dave.
You can find me at sugarraydodge.com. That's my graphic design website, also where I do a bunch of other stuff. You can support me at patreon.com/sugarraydodge. I also wrestle locally here in Utah as Charlie B, as we talked about earlier. Search Facebook for either Charlie B or Sugar Ray Dodge, and I'll pop right up there on Facebook for you.
And make sure you send him all of your B memes.
That's right.
We want We want his Facebook and Twitter to be flooded with B memes.
Yes, do that. And send me fan art because that annoys the hell out of my promoter.
Yes. All right, folks. We will see you next week.